Hello, FluentPath family. Welcome back to the channel where we help you improve your English skills. I'm so glad to have you here. In today's episode, continuing from our previous video, we're diving deeper into reading, one of the most important aspects of learning English. Specifically, I'll be talking about the most common English reading mistakes and how to avoid them. Let's be honest, reading in English isn't always as smooth as we'd like it to be. Sometimes you might get stuck, misunderstand parts of the text, or even feel overwhelmed. But guess what? You're not alone. In today's video, I'll share the most common reading mistakes learners make, and most importantly, I'll teach you how to avoid them. So, grab your favorite cup of coffee or tea, and let's get started. Skimming without understanding. Mistake number 1 is skimming without understanding. Let's face it, we've all done this. You see a long paragraph, and instead of reading it, you skim through the words, hoping to grasp the main idea. While this can save time in certain situations, like taking a quick glance at a menu or scanning headlines, it can backfire when you're reading for deeper understanding. Imagine this. You're reading an article about an exciting new discovery, but because you skimmed, you miss the key details, like the name of the scientist or the actual discovery itself. Or worse, you misunderstood the main idea entirely. Suddenly, the breakthrough in energy storage turns into a new way to store batteries in your head. Yikes! Why does this happen? When you skim too quickly, your brain skips over essential connections in the text, like how ideas are related or how one sentence explains another. As a result, you're left with fragments of information, and the overall picture doesn't make sense. How to avoid it? Here's a simple but effective strategy. Step 1. Skim for the big picture. Start by reading the headings, subheadings, and any bold or italicized words. These are often the key points the author wants you to notice. Step 2. Go back and read selectively. After skimming, slow down and read the parts that seem important in more detail. Focus on sentences that start with transition words like however, therefore, or in contrast. These often signal critical ideas. Step 3. Summarize as you go. Ask yourself questions. What is the author trying to say here? Why is this important? Summarizing forces you to engage with the material and check your understanding. Think of skimming like previewing a movie trailer. It gives you a sense of what the movie's about, but you wouldn't stop there, right? To fully enjoy the story, you'd watch the entire movie. Reading works the same way. Skim to get a preview, then dive in for the full experience. Remember, reading isn't a race. It's about understanding, connecting, and learning. So, take your time, you'll get more out of it. Mistake number 2 is mispronouncing words in your head. When you're reading silently, your inner voice may mispronounce unfamiliar words, which can lead to confusion later when you hear them spoken. For example, you might read colonel as colonel instead of the correct pronunciation, colonel. How to avoid it? Whenever you come across a word you're unsure about, look it up. Use a dictionary app with audio pronunciation, like Cambridge or Merriam-Webster. Over time, you'll build a stronger connection between spelling and pronunciation. Mistake number 3 is ignoring context clues. Have you ever stopped reading just because you didn't know the meaning of a single word? If so, you're not alone. This is a very common mistake. But here's the good news. You don't always need to know every word to understand the meaning of a sentence or passage. Often, you can figure out the meaning of unfamiliar words by paying attention to the words and sentences around them. These are called context clues, and they're incredibly useful. How to avoid this mistake? Practice using context clues as you read. For example, let's say you come across this sentence. The toddler was famished and ate a huge bowl of spaghetti. Even if you don't know the word famished, the rest of the sentence gives you hints. The toddler eating a huge bowl of spaghetti suggests that famished means very hungry. Context clues are your best friend when reading in English. Trust them to guide you. They'll help you become a more confident and independent reader. Mistake number 4 is overloading your vocabulary. It's tempting to stop and look up every single word you don't know, but this can break your reading flow and make the process frustrating. To avoid this, here's a better approach. Focus on understanding the overall meaning of the text. Highlight words you don't know and look them up later. This way, you stay engaged with the story or article while still expanding your vocabulary. Mistake number 5 is focusing too much on grammar. Of course, grammar is important, but when you're reading, overanalyzing every sentence structure can slow you down and make the experience less enjoyable. How to avoid it? Focus on the meaning first and grammar second. If you don't understand a sentence, reread it. If you're still confused, make a note and come back to it after finishing the passage. Remember, fluency comes with practice. Mistake number 6 is reading without setting a goal. When you don't have a clear purpose, you might get distracted, lose focus, or even forget what you've read. Are you reading to learn new vocabulary? To understand a topic? To enjoy a story? Knowing your goal helps you stay on track. Before you start, ask yourself, why am I reading this? Write down your goal if it helps. For example, if you're reading to learn vocabulary, highlight new words as you go. If you're reading for fun, focus on enjoying the story. Mistake number 7 is not practicing regularly. Reading is like exercise. The more you do it, the stronger your skills become. If you only read once in a while, you're missing out on opportunities to improve your vocabulary, comprehension, and fluency. How to avoid it? Set a daily reading habit. Start with just 10 to 15 minutes a day. Choose materials you enjoy, like novels, short stories, news articles, or even blog posts. The key is consistency. That's all for today's episode on the most common English reading mistakes and how to avoid them. Remember, reading is a skill, and like any other skill, it takes time, effort, and consistent practice to improve. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends who are also learning English. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson from the FluentPath English channel. As always, you can find the vocabulary from this lesson in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy reading!